Welcome to Things to Do Monterey. I'm the Arc Lady Diana Guerrero, your host to finding the best things to do on the Central Coast of California. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about nature neighborhoods. Just like the neighborhood in your community that you might live in, nature has its own neighborhoods. And something happened really interesting to me over the past week. So right now I'm working on my California Naturalist certification, and I am spending a lot of time in one particular animal community down by the water. Now I'm at that location quite frequently, but because of the certification process, I'm actually there monitoring and sitting for long periods of time. And what's happened is the animal community has accepted me as part of the neighborhood. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily interaction, because I certainly don't infringe on animals and wildlife, but it does mean acceptance. So a few quirky things happened this week. One of the local hawks was hunting and decided to fly and land right above my head in the tree. And another instance, a couple of the visitors, the Canadian geese that are passing through, were stranded in the middle of traffic, and they were in distress, and I saw them, so I stopped the traffic, escorted them across, and they just decided it was a great thing to do to hang out with me, so they sat right next to me. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And lots more has happened, but if you're out in your neighborhood, see what happens if you spend time outside and see what you notice, because the more you do, the more you'll notice. And speaking of noticing, if you're coming to the Monterey Bay Peninsula this weekend, and this weekend being April 26th through April 28th, don't forget to make some time to head on down to the Ocean Wreck Trail that goes from Monterey through Pacific Grove to see the baby harbor seals with their moms on the beach. Now, please use some sensibility and use your indoor voices, because we had a pup that was abandoned by the mother due to disturbance. And it's one of the reasons we've had to make sure fencing's put up to protect those animals. There are endangered species of birds nesting on the rocks, and the seals are raising their pups, and they're so cute to watch. And this week I was able to interpret for some visitors just what was happening, because just like a cat will show affection by positioning of their whiskers, and if you haven't noticed that and you have a cat, start watching. But they will they'll extend their whiskers forward to nuzzle the baby, and the baby will be affectionate back to the mom, and you'll see their whiskers extended at each other. And so they were positioned vertically in the water, much like a bottle. You ever hear about message in a bottle where you have a cork in it and it floats on top of the surface? Well, that's what they do. The moms float the babies on their chest. And it was just lovely, because the observers hadn't noticed what they were doing. So as I pointed it out, there were 3 or 4 moms out with their babies and just being affectionate with one another and hanging out in the water. So maybe you've had a kid or a child or a niece or nephew that you're teaching to learn to swim, or taking them in the water for the first time, and you're face to face holding them. It's very similar. So watch for that. It's very sweet. So what's happening on the Monterey Bay Peninsula this weekend? First, a heads up, if you're planning to go to Big Sur, use some caution, because Sunday is a Big Sur marathon. It's closed to runners, but spectators are welcome. BigSurMarathon.org. That's not on my list this weekend, but for sure, Dave Hockney's Yosemite display at the Monterey Museum of Modern Art opened yesterday. For more information about that, MontereyArt.org. Worth a stop. And then finally, I'm heading over to the Moss Landing Marine Lab open house this weekend. That's where the graduate students share all things marine with visitors. It's a free event. It's going from 9 to 5, and you can get more information at mlml.com calstate.edu. Now, Moss Landing is a little bit outside the range I normally talk about. It's about a 40-minute drive from Monterey, and the wildlife there is amazing. So whatever you're doing this weekend, make sure you bring some changes of clothes, because we're moving into our summer, which means a lot of fog. And that's it for me. Enjoy your weekend. And one last thing, be sure to visit thingstodomonterey.com for additional tips and hints. And don't miss a session. Be sure to subscribe.